So in today's podcast, I want to really talk about and break down the power of intention with wealth. And I think a lot of people assume that, Budget Dog got wealthy. He must come from a trust fund. He probably had all these handouts. It was probably real easy for him. And some other assumptions I'm not going to list on this podcast that I hear a lot online. And you guys could probably guess what those are. But anyways, let's get back to business. I think the biggest thing is it was not easy. It was not lucky, and I had zero handouts. In fact, it came from zero financial literacy. So I want to really break this down. And I actually have my new book that just came out recently called The Roadmap to Financial Freedom, A Millionaire's Guide to Building Wealth. And it's right here in front of me. If you're watching this, you see it on screen. If not, it's fine. It's in the show notes below. So the Roadmap to Financial Freedom really highlights my journey in a big, big way. And so I always like to explain to people wealth is very intentional. And I'm very honest with the place I came from. Very middle class, very normal, everyday America. I did not have it to where I was struggling to put food on my table, or I came from a broken household and I was educated. So I want to give and not discredit anything that we've already received, or me as a person growing up, put in a pretty good situation, right? Had food on my table, didn't come from a broken household. Both parents were married together, seemingly happy, right? And we also didn't have any issues with having food or eating and stuff like that. Parents have lost their house due to the '08 crash, but a lot of people went through that kind of stuff, right, in '08. And so I didn't grow up dirt poor, but with that all being said, I grew up with zero financial literacy. I've never heard about investing. That wasn't a thing, in fact. And I remember specifically when I started my career at Deloitte of how in awe I was by all the people I was working with. And I think that's where my journey began. So at 16, I got my first job. I was making a bunch of money. I saved it all. There was nothing special about what I did. In fact, today as we speak, I would be worth $1 million more if I were to invest that money at 16 to 23. But I was saving it because that's what I was told to do. So I want to give everyone perspective as to where I started. So at 22 years old, I was worth negative $8,000. My net worth was negative $8,000. I didn't start with a handout. I did not start with money. Did not start out with a head start per se. I mean, I guess you could argue that, hey, a family together with food on the table and a decent education is a head start nonetheless. But you know what? Here's what I'm going to also say. Everybody has a different advantage and disadvantage. And if you constantly are just pointing fingers as to this person's so lucky because blah, 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 you're never going to win. You're just honestly kind of a loser mentality. Because everyone's going to have something over you, right? LeBron James is better in basketball than me. He's way more talented than me. I'm sure that somebody out there, like a CEO of NVIDIA, is probably a little smarter than me, I'd guess. I would assume that Kelly Slater, as a surfer, probably has more ability to surf than I do. A lot of people are great at different things, but if we constantly point to why these people have more than us and we just complain about it, it's not going to work. You're going to stay broke your whole life. You're not really going to see much success, and I'm very, very blunt about that for a good reason, because while I had some advantages, I also came from zero financial literacy. I came from zero understanding of how money works. And until I got into my career, I saved all my money. And it was just my personality to save money, but I never invested it. I never learned about how to budget, what insurance was. I remember specifically, actually, guys, this is the real story. I think I was 21, 22, about to move out of the house, officially outside of college. And, I was back and forth in the summers. And I remember asking my dad as I planned to buy my first house, what type of insurances, do you have as a person? What all the insurances? He couldn't answer that question for me. And I love my dad to death. But he came from no education either, right? So it's not his fault necessarily, and it's not your fault. If you're listening to this and you don't have education, it's not your fault either, but you got to clean up the mess. And so I didn't have the education, but my daughters will, and everybody else after me will. And right now, current day speaking, we're worth $2.6 million at 32. So that 10-year track record of just insane intentionality is why we are where we are. A lot of it is due to this right here. So if you can't see, you might be able to see this visual, but if you are listening right now, on the back of my book, we have a dedication. That's to my daughter. This book is dedicated to my daughter, Logan, whose battle with Dravet syndrome has made me see life through a different lens. 100% of proceeds will be donated to the Dravet Syndrome Foundation in order to help fund the necessary research to find a cure and financially support countless families battling the same problem. So financial freedom for me wasn't a matter of I want to go buy the fancy car. I want to go live this crazy life. Financial freedom for me was a necessity for my daughter's well-being. It was a need. It was not a want. It started off as kind of a want, like, hey, this is a great idea. Let's pay off some debt, et cetera. But what I realized along the way was it was so much bigger than myself. And so when you're trying to build financial freedom, guys, I can tell you right now, if you think about only yourself, it's going to be a really boring, lonely road. There's not a lot of satisfaction in just getting more money and buying more stuff and quitting your job. Like, there's a lot of satisfaction in helping other people. There's a lot of satisfaction in changing the course of your daughter's life who has a severe Dravet syndrome. That alone is the biggest reason why I do what I do. Like, we've already hit the number goal, all of our number goals that we need to hit personally. Like, I'm not worried about that at this point. I don't need money. In fact, this book, 100% dedicated to Dravet syndrome, right? Like I said, it's nothing that I benefit from or profit per se. But the biggest benefit that I can deliver is the education and knowledge to other people. And so you buying this book is going to help you in tremendous ways. If you're sitting here listening, why can't I become financially free? Why can't I do all these things? I've done it, guys. I understand the power of intentionality. And I show you in this book the exact roadmap, specific. And it's really easier than people think. When you have a big why behind what you do, and my big why is obviously my daughter, my family, Dravet Syndrome Foundation, $1 million goal. There's a lot of big things that we're trying to accomplish has nothing to do with myself. But because of that, I'm so driven to fix this and figure this out and accomplish these goals, because there's immense satisfaction helping other people. And I think that is a huge driver for a lot of people's success that are really hyper uber successful. People that are always about themselves and that's the only thing they care about and the only thing they think about, then you get like kind of burnt out. It's kind of like, what am I doing this for? Like, obviously there's some selfish reasons you want to become financially free, but at the end of the day, like, how much does this really mean without real meaning? And that is what I emphasize in the Roadmap to Financial Freedom, a millionaire's guide to building automated wealth, having the right values, having the right system, automating this process, living the life you want to live. I don't go for big boats and fancy cars. It doesn't appease me. It doesn't matter if it appeases you. I don't care. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, for me personally, I think the intention behind the financial freedom goal that we've achieved is solely because of my daughter. And I think you need to deep dive into your own life. Ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it just because I don't like my boss? Or is there a bigger reason because I can quit my job, I can do X, Y, and Z that will impact other people, impact other things, have a massive impact to bigger than myself? That is, I think at that point you win the game, because the financial freedom is almost a byproduct. Your personal financial freedom is a byproduct of the steps and actions you're taking for the bigger cause. And when you begin to change the way you think about this, which is very ultra powerful for anybody that wants to see real success, you're going to see crazy strides in a very, very fast time frame. When you're intentional, you build very fast. I can speak from experience, guys. When I started off with a negative $8,000 net worth at 22 years old, all I knew was I already had the intention, mindset, and understanding of I'm going to become a millionaire. But at 0 years old, I was worth $0. So I literally went backwards in a 22-year span. That's really, really sad, to say the least. But I knew no better. And so now I do know better. And I know how to build financial freedom for millions of people. For anybody that wants to start this roadmap, you can go in the show notes below and start in Millionaire Club for free. Millionaire Club is a free step-by-step guide for the first 7 days to show you into our program exactly what to do. This should not be hard. This is only hard because we haven't had the proper education and guidance and resources and support to make this easy. But that's exactly what this book's about. That's exactly what the Millionaire Club's about, walking you through the step-by-step process to actually see this through and change your life once and for all. And the people that wait, that don't really have the intention, I'm going to show you an exact number that's going to blow your mind in an exact situation. So let's just say in your situation right now, you have $100,000 invested and you have $2,000 a month that you're investing for 30 years. Historical market returns, let's call it 10%. And yes, you can get 10% returns. That's called the S&P 500. A lot of people are like, well, where can you get 10% return? Historically speaking, if you're in the S&P, that's going to happen. There's no guarantee going forward. Lots of disclaimers around that, but in general, yes, that will be the case. So in 30 years, if you built in that exact situation, you would have about $5.7 million. Pretty substantial, right? But if you wait 5 years because you're not intentional, you think this is okay to wait, and it's going to take your sweet ass time. $3.5 million. It's the difference of, let's call it $2.2 million roughly. Most people don't feel like they're losing $2.2 million, and therefore the pain isn't great enough. So they just continue with their sweet, comfortable life and then complain about the same things over and over and over, and then wonder why Budget Dog got rich or another person got rich, and they just keep complaining and wondering, and all these things keep going through their head. The solution is right in this book. It's a Millionaire Club, step by step. It's a really easy process, but you have to want it. And if you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to succeed anyway. And so if you point fingers and you're sitting there wondering why everyone's getting rich besides you, honestly, I have no hope. And I put this pretty blunt, and I mean that with respect, but I've seen people that have success, and it's pretty apparent to me within about 5 seconds after talking to somebody, just hearing their way they talk, the tonality, their presence, their demeanor. I can tell who's success. I can easily tell who's going to be successful within a matter of seconds. And I've seen that, and I have a really, really good gauge on that. And so when I talk about intentionality, I always say, wealth building is easy, but I kind of come with the assumption, in my own mind, that I have that person has the same level of intention as I do. And so if you don't have the same level of intention as I do, it might not be easy. That that Starbucks coffee or whatever you want to continue to overspend on, and I joke about coffee because I really don't care, but that, and that's not really that important here. But all of those things that you keep overspending on because you just don't care, and little things do add up, eventually it's going to be like a very painful aha moment down the road when you're realizing, I could have done all this. I wasn't intentional enough. I wasn't serious enough. And now I've had my aha moment, and it's cost me millions of dollars. So until you come to that conclusion, and I'm not here to make you come to that conclusion, in fact, I don't care. I respect you guys. I love you guys. But at the end of the day, I have made a very, very, let's call it this. I made a deal with myself that I will no longer care about people that don't care about themselves. So you show me you care, I'm all in for you. All my students within the academy know that. All my people in the Millionaire Club know that. Anybody I've worked with or talked to know I'm about that. But I've also spent a lot of time with people that don't care, and I've tried too hard, and it's wasted my energy. And so I'm not here to force you to do anything. I'm just here to explain what I've been able to do from the intentionality since basically the last decade. Since 22 to 32, I've been able to build a $2.6 million net worth coming from negative $8,000 with zero financial literacy. This is not an accident. This is not, I got lucky. This is not, whatever you want to throw my way. I see online all the time. Those are just excuses that you're not where you want to be. And so you're going to point fingers, you're going to say all these things. And the reality is, I'm at where I'm at because I've chosen to be where I'm at. And I have the intentionality. I have the reason. It's on the back of this book. If you can see, the back of this book is a picture of my daughter and my family. There's a reason we have what we have, because I've decided for her, it's way bigger than me. But a lot of people don't know what they're really after. And so they just kind of go in this mindless cycle of want to make more money. I want to get that raise. I want to do this. I want to do that. But it's what do you really want to do? Deep dive, guys. You got to deep dive, because when you deep dive into this stuff, you are going to uncover a level that you've never experienced of yourself. You're going to reach your full potential. You're going to see some really cool stuff come. A lot of the wealth building I talk about is, like I said, not about the fancy cars and, huge houses and beachfront locations. There's nothing wrong with that if you want that. It just doesn't drive me personally. But what drives me is reaching full potential. Your God-given ability on this earth, there's a reason you have it. Are you actually maximizing that? Because if you are, you have intentionality behind everything you do. When I go to the gym, I give 110%. When I work, I give 110%. When I'm with my family, I give 110%. Everything else, I give 0% to. I don't have balance. I think balance is stupid. I think balance is a soft way of saying, from maybe the elites, who knows, of trying to dumb down the population and soften everybody. And people bought into this work-life balance. It's give everything you got 110% and love what you do. The passion will shine through, the intention will shine through, and you'll have crazy results just by naturally doing that. And it doesn't take a whole lot of brilliance or a whole lot of brains to do this. It's intentional. It's knowing what you want and going after it without fear. You're going to fail. You're going to slip. You're going to fall. You're going to get punched in the face. All these things have happened to me. They still happen on a daily basis. How much resistance are you willing to take to get to the goals that you want to achieve? And I think it comes down to that, and it comes down to power of intention. And it's super simple, but at its core, people don't fully know this and understand the sacrifice some of this stuff takes. And you look at the David Beckhams of the world, the LeBron James of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, and you say, they're just extra talented. It's not the case. I mean, sure, they have an extra talent in their specific way, and they've been intentional about utilizing their God-given ability. But the thing that separates them from the other LeBron James, the other Tom Brady in high school that never made it, was their intentionality to maximize their potential. And they become so obsessed with maximizing that potential that you actually see it real time and you experience as a viewer, as somebody that's watching the game. And you have that ability in you. You need to figure out which route that is, and then you got to figure out how to become so obsessed with achieving what you want to achieve to make your dreams come to reality. And financial freedom, guys, will happen. It's just a matter of time. And if you build the right system, like I say here, and walk through the roadmap to financial freedom, A Millionaire's Guide to Building Automated Wealth, and Millionaire Club, it's just a matter of time, and I can't restate that enough. And I want you guys to all see that and wake up to it and have that aha moment. And I hope this podcast, listening to this on a daily basis, gives you that confidence to overcome some of the fears that are holding you back. Because there's something holding you back. If you're not there, it's just a fear. There's something that you don't believe. You have a limiting belief. I can't do that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. That's just not for me. People around me never did that. Whatever the case is, you're telling yourself something, and there's something preventing you from achieving that. Because there's nothing different between me and you or the ability to achieve financial wealth. Money, the stock market, business, real estate, if you put the money in, the stock's going to grow. The real estate's going to grow. The business is going to grow. There's nothing holding you back from doing exactly what I'm doing. And I want to make that very, very clear today. For anybody listening, wondering how to do exactly what I'm doing, just follow the pathway. Follow exactly what I talk about. But understand why you're following that pathway. Understanding what you're intentionally trying to achieve. Power of intention, huge, guys. I will see everybody in next episode.
You've been listening to Money on My Mind with your host, Brendan Schlagbaum. If you found value in today's discussion, share it with someone who could benefit from it too. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss a money mastery tip. Until next time, stay passionate about your financial journey and keep taking bold steps towards your money goals.